All right, what's going on, y'all? May everybody's day go as well as it possibly can out there. Yeah, there's something that I want to talk about real quick. I'm heading off to work, but this is something I think that is really important, at least in my life it is. And I've learned yet another lesson in my life from it. I know for myself, I don't care what I'm going through. I don't care how bad it gets for me. I don't care if I'm depressed. I don't care if I'm having the worst days of my life, which the last couple months, it has not been a, quote, good time for me. I have been feeling down and out. I've been feeling because I'm having a lifestyle change here. You know, I'm doing things that I wasn't doing for a long time. And I just got in a rut. I got down on myself. But see, here's something that I would never, ever, ever, ever do. And this is something I will never do again. I will never. I don't care if I'm feeling like the world just smacked me upside the head, or I had the worst thing happen to me, or whatever the situation or case is. Never, ever talk down upon yourself. Never, ever, ever talk down upon yourself. See, the reason that I'm saying this, because, see, when we talk down upon ourselves and we look at ourselves like we are the problem, even though all people are their own problem. We're all our own problem in this world, and we need to deal with things, and we have to cope, and we got to do what we got to do. But right when you give yourself that affirmation that I can't do this, and I'm worthless, and I will never do anything in my life, or I'm just not worth anybody's time, and what's the reason for me to come around? Then you start kind of feeling sorry for yourself and playing the victim or letting life beat you to a pulp. And I know all about this. This is why I'm telling people in a video, is because right when you talk down upon yourself, you are affirming that in your brain, and you're telling yourself, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. Yeah, I don't want to do a lot of things that I have to do. I can't stand monotony, the kind of monotony where I am doing something in my life that the reason I'm doing it is to go somewhere and do something that I don't really want to do or enjoy doing. Now, do I mind the monotony where if I'm doing the monotonous things that I'm doing, and I'm doing that to go do something I want to do, that I like to do, that's not as bad, you see. I can handle that more, and that's not as monotonous. It doesn't feel as monotonous. But I just know that when I get into my kind of mental ruts that I get into, and I get into those places that I get into, yes, it does. It gets very stormy and gloomy for me up in my mind, in my psychological state. And that happens with me. You know, it's not something I'm in denial of. I have been very transparent. I have been very honest. I have been very open. But at the same time, there is just no way that when something like that is going for me, and to start talking down upon myself, or to start telling myself that this is how it's gonna be, and I'm never gonna get out of it, and why is this happening to me, and just on and on and on. These catastrophizing thoughts keep going and going and going. At least for me, they do. And I realized I started getting in a habit with myself of telling myself all this bad shit again, and just letting that control the entire aspect of my life. And it is a scary situation. It's terrifying when you allow yourself to get in that kind of position. And I know there's way more people out there. There is way more people out there than what we think that do this, but they're scared to get honest with themselves. They might be scared to express it. They might be scared to say, yes, I am going through that. I've allowed that to happen to myself, and I'm just being honest here. And I understand how that is too, when you expose yourself. See, people don't want to expose themselves today. We have this, I think there is an epidemic today of right when we are going through something, or we don't have an outlet to deal with that thing, what do we do? What do we do as people? It's the same thing I do too. I start blaming everyone. I start blaming everything. I start blaming the world. You know, I start, just because something's happening with me and I'm going through something and I'm not dealing with it, kind of, and there's a storm going on in my mind, in my head, I start projecting that onto the world and saying, you know, it's their fault. It's their problem. It's the world's problem. And we all do this. We all do this. And even I do this with everything that I do. I won't lie. It's in everything that I do. But the thing is, when it's just time after time after time, and it's every day, and it becomes a habit for that person, it is so toxic. It is so poisonous. It is like literal venom in my life. With me, I'm just speaking for me. I'm just being honest with myself. And I know that this doesn't have a lot to do with the video, but hey, it's just how I do things on my channel. I switch up stuff because I don't like getting stuck in just one topic, because there's a lot of things going through my mind. But it's like this thing today with men and women. It's like men and women are battling each other, saying one is better than the next. I get so tired of hearing this shit. Like, every time I go on YouTube, I'll see videos. I'm almost to the point where I don't even know if I want to be on the internet anymore, if I'm being absolutely honest. Because to me, it's kind of like a cesspool of different things that you got to be very careful with, or you can fall right into that thing that other people are doing and saying and gossiping about and being a part of. And a lot of it is just toxic stuff to me. It doesn't work for me. But all that I see is things like women are undateable today. Now look, the whole dating thing, I have my thoughts about that. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm just not into this whole, quote, societal aspect of things. But anyway, there's things like, oh, women are undateable. They have too high standards, and real men, men today don't know how to be real men. And it's just all of these things people are putting out. It's just fear-mongering. It's fear-mongering. It's to get the person to hate the other one. It's to get the person to talk down upon the other one like the one is better. And all we have today is this kind of sparring match going on between men and women where instead of us, see, I'm not going to get into the whole information of it. I'm just going to give the top layer of the cake. But it has become this thing that it's so stupid and so ridiculous to me where it's like men are better than women today. Women are better than men today. Women are worse. Men are worse. It's the women's fault. It's the men's fault. No. If anything is going on in this life, that there is a problem with that person caused their own problem. And this is why I did the video that I did the other day of an accountability crisis. There is an accountability crisis and there is a blaming crisis in this world. And I know too, because I've allowed myself to kind of get stirred up in the thought of some of those things for myself. And I know how when you're being honest with yourself and you're being real and you're confronting yourself and you're not just being fake and phony and hypocritical and all these other things like a lot of other people are. They don't want to take a look in the mirror at things they're doing in their own life. Those people, they enjoy that stuff. They enjoy being negative about everything. They enjoy seeing other people fall completely to shit. They enjoy all of that toxicity. They suck it up. It's like a magnet there that they love. They love it. And see, I can't live that way, because if I live that way, then I'm going to be a part of the cesspool of life. And I don't want to do that for myself. And listen, this is not a video. I want to get this very clear for whoever watches and myself. But actually, it's for myself, because I can only look at myself with these things. It isn't that I am trying to put out a positive or a negative message with anything that I do. I am just simply looking to remain a neutral, open, honest being with myself. I don't care about being on a side or really comparing myself to people or thinking I'm better or worse and yada, yada, yada. All that stuff is what creates this extra baggage, nonsensical irrelevancy in my life. And I just realize a lot of things, I'm putting myself into these things. I'm allowing these things to happen to me sometimes, not all the time. Just like what I said with this talking down upon yourself, or when you're in a place in life where you're coping hard, or you're depressed about something, or you had something happen where you feel like you're stuck and you feel kind of paralyzed in the situation because you don't feel like you can express yourself in the way you want to around others. And yes, this is one of my problems too. How I feel sometimes, I feel like I can't express myself like I want to around others because I don't think they will understand me. So therefore, I kind of keep it to myself and I don't really say anything. And I let that linger in my mind, and then that kind of builds up for me as a person. And yes, there's the whole monotonous thing going on, the monotony of everyday things that, for me, I can't stand when I know I got to do something I really don't want to do, but it's something I have to do right now. But it's just the fact that I know better even when I'm not feeling right. Even when things are not going how I want them to go. Even when this is doing something on its own to me, the construct of me, I have to be very careful that I am not right away going to blaming someone else because of something I'm going through or something that's happening in my life. You see what I'm saying? I can't go towards right away saying, Nate, you did this to yourself again, Nate. And then I'm affirming these thoughts. I'm believing those thoughts. And listen, we are our thoughts and we're not our thoughts. I know that most of my thoughts are not me. I know that they're not me. But at the same time, we kind of live by our thoughts. We project our thoughts. We kind of live by our thoughts, if we're being honest. But do we know the bullshit thoughts? Do we know the thoughts that are not real? Because most of the thoughts are not real. It's just things coming to our head that we're projecting. And I don't know if people are like me, but I catastrophize and I have obsessive thoughts and things come to my mind that I don't even want to think about. I say, I don't even want to think about this shit. Like, really, if I could just erase it off my memory and not think of it, I would be better off. But I can't do that. Like, I can't just wipe my mind slate clean and nothing be there. But besides the thoughts, see, if I start believing those thoughts, if I start giving into them thoughts and I start giving them their power, then it will just build up more and more and more and more and more, and it will turn into some kind of monster. It'll turn into some kind of anger, rage, and there's nothing wrong with anger. Anger, there's nothing wrong with it, but for me, too much anger is not good for me at all. Too much anger is not good for me. A little bit, yeah. I think a little bit of anger is a good thing. And anger is something that is very misunderstood too in our world. But I know I got to be very careful with the way that I'm telling myself things and I'm affirming things for myself. And I seen what I did. I've noticed what I've been doing and I seen what I've been doing. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to have a shitty day or I'm going to have a day where I need to complain or vent or talk about something. That's different. Complaining and bitching and things like that, that's different from me saying I'm a piece of shit or I can't do this at all or look what you did again, Nate, when actually it isn't me that did it. It's just something in here that's doing something. And see, I start believing that thing. You see, even I got to be careful with what I'm doing. Even I have to take a look at myself and things I'm doing because your words can come back to bite you very easily. And even though I put all of that stuff into everything I do, there's still that side of me where if I am not observing what I'm doing, it can get really bad. It can get really bad. And then there's some times where I can't help that while it's happening. It's just happening. But distinguishing the two is the thing it's a very tricky and clever thing. Because if I'm having a bad day, then right when I see something I don't like, then I'm off to the chases blaming that thing. Saying, oh, look at that thing because I'm having a bad day. And it's so toxic. It's so poisonous. It's just like gossip. People that gossip because they're having a bad day or something's going wrong in their life. That's not the way to deal with things. Like, the way to deal with it is to get honest with ourselves. But most people don't do it that way. And that's why I feel like I'm in a world of my own sometimes, because I feel like I'm being honest with my life and then I'm just kind of hearing other things and people blaming and doing all this stuff. And I know that we get how we get. And I know that there are times to complain and there are times to do that. But if that's all that I am doing, if that's all that we are doing, then we wonder why that keeps going for us. We wonder why it just keeps going, because we will not stop it. We will not make a decision to say, look, enough is enough. I've been doing this to myself for too long, and I'm not going to do it to myself no more. And I'm affirming today is going to be a day for me how I want it to be. You see, I'm not saying it's going to be a great day, because things are going to happen. I know things are going to happen the way that I don't want them to, but I got to get back to affirming things in my life that I want to do. I got to start looking at me like I'm the best me. I got to start looking at me like I want something to live for. There's something for me to do while I'm here. There's something I can better in my life. Not putting that a high standard or expectation on myself, but I got to start affirming that again, because I've allowed myself to get into this very deep, bad rut again. And there's a reason that happened too, but I have to go. I would just like to think that this would help someone else along for themselves today. That's all. So take care of yourselves. Later.